Kevin had been working as a bartender and doorman at St. Mark's Bar in the East Village of New York City for the past 3 years. It was an iconic bar made famous because the Rolling Stones shot their Waiting on a Friend video there, which attracted people from all walks of life. Bar work was his second job. He also worked as a manager for a national brand apparel store that catered to jazz dancers and athletic women during the day. It wasn't easy, but he was making it in the greatest city in the world. His personality and athletic good looks lent themselves to both his day job and side hustle. Kevin was very happy with his life. He enjoyed his job at the bar and the people he worked with, but it could be a challenging environment at times. This particular Friday night had been particularly busy and Kevin was feeling exhausted as he left the bar. The house band called The Big City Medicine Show had kept the bar packed and the drinks flowing. Kevin felt very fortunate that tonight he did not have to close down the bar. It was his night to leave an hour before the 4 a.m. closing time. He had a long 20 blocks to walk home and he knew he needed to stay hydrated given he had another 7-hour shift the following night, so he decided to stop at the diner and bodega on the avenue to grab a bottle of water and a bacon, egg and cheese on a roll and call it a night. He ventured into the diner and was greeted by his friend Dennis, who was the manager. Dennis asked, "The usual?" "Yep, you are so predictable." Kevin smiled and replied, "Hell yeah, love you man," patted Dennis on the shoulder with familiarity and sauntered off to the bodega next door as he had done many times before. As usual, Macrem, his favorite bodega worker, was behind the counter at the bodega. Macrem cracked the first joke, which brought a quick reply from Kevin. Like many nights in the past, they spent the next minute insulting each other and making jokes about race, religion and each other's ugly sisters. The fun and friendly exchange that they had grown accustomed to having was suddenly disrupted by a young man sporting dreadlocks and a hoodie who emerged from the shelves in the back of the store. The man gazed upon Kevin and he could feel the man sizing him up. Kevin could feel bad vibes from this guy immediately. The dreadlock man said, "I hope y'all weren't talking smack about me?" Kevin did not reply, turned around and tried to hastily finish his transaction with Macrem. He was very tired and just wanted to get his water and get home. The man with the dreadlocks seemed to be getting more and more agitated. Kevin could hear him muttering to himself and pacing back and forth. He tried to ignore the man, hoping he would just calm down, but the man's behavior only seemed to escalate. The man with the dreadlocks exclaimed, "What's wrong with you? You can't talk to me like a man." Finally, Kevin turned around and asked the man if he was okay. It was a simple, well-intentioned question, but the man took it as a challenge. He got in Kevin's face and started yelling and cursing at him. Kevin tried to explain that he was just trying to ask if he was okay, but the man was beyond reason. The argument quickly escalated and the man started screaming obscenities. Kevin was shocked and couldn't believe what was happening. He started moving towards the exit and the man grabbed him by the shoulder and spun him around. Kevin managed to get out of the bodega and onto street, but the dreadlock man was close behind. Kevin asked himself, why is he following me? Kevin, at 6 feet 215 pounds, decided that he had no choice but to get ready to defend himself. He thought this guy may be high on something and looking for trouble. Before he could react, the man lunged at him. Kevin did not want to fight this man, but the man gave him no choice. Kevin felt a punch to his chest and Kevin was down. Kevin fell to the ground, feeling a searing pain and a sense of disbelief as he stumbled to the ground with the realization that he was hurt. His first thought was, what a punch. This young guy must be a boxer, he can't weigh more than 170 soaking wet. Kevin looked down and saw his shirt soaked with blood. He stabbed me. Why? What did I do to him? Out of nowhere another man appeared, grabbed the dreadlock man, shook him, and exclaimed, "What the hell did you do?" They both swiftly fled the scene, jumping into a waiting car and sped off down Avenue towards Houston Street, leaving Kevin bleeding from the chest lying on the sidewalk in front of the bodega. People on the street scattered like roaches when the lights are turned on, once they saw the blood on Kevin's shirt. Kevin's torso was totally soaked in blood. He was bleeding out rapidly. Kevin was in shock and struggling to stay conscious. He could feel the blood pooling even more in his shirt and he knew he needed help. Everything was in slow motion. Surely someone was going to tell him they had called 911 and help was on the way. No one was helping people, just running away from him like he was some sort of bloody monster. The blood was pooling rapidly now in Kevin's white shirt, yet it was like time had come to a standstill. It was becoming difficult to breathe. It felt like the lights were slowly dimming. Everything around him seemed surreal and dreamlike, but this was really happening. Kevin thought, my bar is a block away. Can I make it? I don't want to die on the street in the East Village of New York. Still, no one had appeared to help him in any way. Lay here and hope for help to arrive or try to get up and find help. Kevin knew he had to make a choice. He knew that this choice could be difference of whether he lived or died. All he could think about was if he was going to die like so many he had read about in the New York papers. A victim of a random act of violence. Kevin kept asking himself, what did I do? End of part 1. Thanks for watching. Part 2 coming soon.